Yeah, you're standing at the Grand Canyon and you're just overwhelmed by the sheer size of it. You are so humbled. You feel so insignificant. And you're deeply moved by how big and great and vast just one little section of geography is. Albert Einstein said that he believes that the true religious experience is to look at the universe and just stand in awe. It is so awesome. It humbles you. It inspires you. Our organization is called It's Good to Know. The website is goodtoknow.org. We never actually spoke about the meaning of It's Good to Know. Because when you say it's good to know, everybody agrees. Nobody asks for an explanation. Sure, it's good to know. Why not? It's good to know. But there is much more to it. It's good to know can apply to many, many different topics. It's good to know a little math. It's good to know a little science. It's good to know a little history. It's good to know a little psychology. But when it comes to relationships, in a real significant, meaningful relationship, knowing is almost everything. To know somebody, because you can react to people in so many different ways. For example, you can have a loving relationship and you know nothing about each other and you don't care because you're enjoying the love. Or the expression, love is blind. I'm so busy being in love with you, I don't want to hear the facts. I don't care. So what if you're a serial killer? Before I continue with my monologue, where I do all the talking, I want to invite you to a VIP session, a Zoom session, in which we get together to actually have a conversation and discuss all things Jewish, all things holy, all things healthy. So click on the link below and join us where we can have a two-way conversation. So the whole relationship is one emotion. But to make the relationship true, you have to know. You have to know who you're loving. See, the same thing is true also with faith. You can have faith in God. You can have strong faith in God, strong trust in God, deep belief in God, and you have no idea who He is. You don't know Him. It's not enough. What makes a relationship good is if you get to know, because it's good to know. This is basically the Chabad philosophy. 200 and some years ago, when the first Chabad Rebbe introduced the thinking and the style, the approach to the service of God, which is now known as Chabad, everybody who heard what the Rebbe was saying, everybody who studied the Chabad thinking already believed in God. It was a time when people were very faithful, very believing. Faith in God was the norm. People who didn't believe were very rare and exceptional. So, who was learning to know about God? People who already believed in God. People who already loved God. So what is it that they were so interested in? What did Chabad do to revolutionize Jewish life when there was already faith and there was already love? There was already commitment. Chabad added, it's good to know. Get to know, get to understand. So there are two ways in which a person is inspired. Because inspiration, that's the name of the game, right? You want to be inspired. You don't want to be ordinary. You don't want to be at a standstill. You want to be inspired. That moves you to growing in whatever your endeavor is. So how do we get inspired? Well, there are two ways, external and internal. External inspiration is overwhelmingly powerful. You're standing at the Grand Canyon and you're just overwhelmed by the sheer size of it. You are so humbled. You feel so insignificant. And you're deeply moved by how big and great and vast just one little section of geography is. Albert Einstein said that he believes that the true religious experience is to look at the universe, see how magnificent it is, and just stand in awe. It is so awesome. It humbles you. It inspires you. It moves you deeply. You discover that you have an internal capacity that you don't always feel. But when it's stirred, it's overwhelming. You're in the presence of somebody who is so magnificent, so much smarter, so much stronger, so much braver, so much more mature, that you feel like a baby. You are moved. But that inspiration is coming from outside of yourself. Or even, to make it easier to understand, you're in the presence of someone who is inspired. And that inspires you. It's powerful, but it's external, which means that in a month, in a year, it's going to be gone. Because it's not yours. You were moved by something outside of yourself. When you go on with your life, it'll fade to the background. It'll be a pleasant memory, but you will not be inspired anymore. The other possibility, the other way of inspiring, is internal inspiration. Internal inspiration, an inspiration of your own, is not going to be as powerful, but it's going to last much longer because it's internal. It's you. How does internal inspiration happen? Through knowing. When you learn something, not bump into it by accident. That could be really inspiring. But when you learn something and you get it, it rings with truth in your brain. And you say, oh, is this true? Wow. That's not coming from the outside. That's coming from you. That is going to last for the rest of your life because you have become what inspires you. When the inspiration comes from external sources, it moves you beyond yourself, but yourself has not been affected. And that's why it will fade, it'll pass, and it'll be gone. Internal inspiration comes through knowing. That's why it's good to know. It's good to know, meaning there are other good things, like external inspiration. Someone inspires you. That's good, but it's not as good as knowing. So, of all the good things in the world, it's good to know. In recent times, if you're exposed to what's going on in this crazy world, it's not just good to know. It's absolutely essential. Because insanity is rampant. The not knowing has become, way beyond what it should be. People always, in a moment of honesty, always admitted, oh, I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot I don't know. I don't know. That was part of sanity. To recognize that I don't know, that was part of sanity. That was part of intelligence. I don't know is an intelligent statement. In fact, the smartest people in the world, the real geniuses in the world, were always talking about what they don't know. And they were bothered by not knowing. But they knew what they didn't know. And that's what made them geniuses. The fool knows everything. Because he once read an article about it in the Reader's Digest. So he knows. So not knowing is an important part of the mind's character and function. But today, not knowing is almost a lifestyle. We do things we know nothing about. We say things we know nothing about. As if knowing is not even necessary. Like that crazy thing about fighting for the right to be a woman. What is a woman? I don't know. So what are you fighting for? The right to be a woman. What is a woman? Whoever thinks she's a woman. Well, what does she think of herself when she thinks of herself as a woman? I don't know. That is not an act of intelligence. That's a loss of direction. It's a loss of purpose. It's a loss of design. It's the end of intelligence. So it's even more important today that we get to know. We stay focused on knowing, on the need to know, and to make sure that what we know is a thorough knowledge, not a flimsy external impersonal knowledge, but a knowledge that we really embody. We internalize it. We become it. We become it. When you say to a person, wow, you're really smart, It's not just what they know that is smart, they become smart. It's now them. So knowing is an internal inspiration. It's not as exciting, as mind-blowing as an external or artificial inspiration that comes, for example, from a drug. That can be very intense, sometimes a little too intense. But it's all external. It's coming from the outside. Just good old-fashioned learning, knowledge, logic, reason, conclusions drawn from information. This is internal inspiration. If you enjoyed this conversation or this topic, and you're looking for more information, or you want to hear it again from another angle, there is a way to do that. And that is in this book. It's all there. Order it from Amazon. You can read it, reread it, and share it.